we have to differentiate between influence and manipulation. There are some tactics and strategies people use. They try to persuade, they think they are influencing. Maybe they are crossing the delicate line between influencing and manipulating.
Right.
This could be with good intentions. And I've heard some people who train and coach and tell you that, hey, just go out there and close it by all means. And they give you some techniques, tactics, which you don't like. You mentioned that earlier. Would you tell us, how do you spot and tell whether this is persuasion and influence or manipulation? And also, do you have some, you don't like the word tactic, but do you have any tactics or strategies, approach that you have that help you not to manipulate people?
Yeah, you know what? I think it goes back to what we were talking about before, and that's just about listening to your client and understanding their needs. So, like, if you're out, I mean, how many times have you been out and you're looking at something, and then you're getting all this talk, you're being sold. Basically, you're getting all the information. Here's why you should buy. Here's why you should buy. Here's why you should buy. My products are great, but they're not listening to you. You know, I had an Audi, a Q8 Audi SUV. Previously, I went into a car dealership, and I got a young salesperson, and he really wasn't listening, and steered me like the direction, wrong direction. All he was doing, talking, he was selling, and you get so busy selling and trying to, like you said, persuade, that you're forgetting you're selling to a person. And this person came in for a reason, and they have a certain need. So, I mean, obviously, if they're coming to you, you're at a car dealership, that's pretty easy. They're interested in buying a car. They're not just going to go randomly into a car dealership. So, I mean, it makes it that much easier because you have the product they want, or otherwise they wouldn't be there. So that's one thing. But, the fact, even in this situation, that I potentially I saw another car out by this other manufacturer. I thought, this is a nice looking vehicle I saw on the road. I thought, let me go in and check it out. And then this salesperson is trying to put me in a whole different direction, different price point, different everything. It wasn't even listening to my needs. So yeah, it goes back to you being sold. Then, how do you like it? You don't like it when you're being sold.
Yeah.
Hey, of course, we all like to buy stuff, but don't sell me. I want to say yes, but give me the reasons to understand, but you got to listen to me first. And so, we have to do the same thing.
One thing I want you to help me and also others is that, yes, we should not manipulate people. Yes, we should not become transactional. But at the same time, also, we have to close. Partly because if we miss an opportunity with someone, we may never be meeting them again. We may never have it. May never have any chance. How do you reconcile that? Okay, I may have this one chance today, and I must close it. But at the same time, also, I don't want to manipulate them or pressure them so that I could close them. How do you reconcile the two?
Well, you know what? You got to distinguish between what's a true objective and what isn't, right? So usually their first objection isn't a real objection. And they would say in the books you're going to read, they're going to say the second objection is needed, maybe not even the third. They just want a confirmation. They want you to convince me why I need to buy this. Is this the reason why I need to buy this? And so I think rolling over objections, for example, and then we're getting into techniques, but yeah, you're rolling over objections, and there's a lot of good, technique, and there's a lot of good behind that, and just making sure, sometimes people just want to be assured. So I wouldn't even use the term persuaded or make it a negative, but they just want to be assured that they're getting the right product, that they're not going to have a buyer's remorse. Like they're going to go home and show it to their wife and the wife's going to hate it for the reasons. Oh my gosh, I can't explain to you the way the salesman explained it to me, but man, this is awesome. But you don't want that. You don't want to deal with that situation. But I think just reiterate your points. Reason why you got so far in this conversation. If you're at the point where they're ready to buy and they just want another, hey, we're buying for this reason or that reason. Hey, you're buying because you came in here and you told me this. This is what you're looking for. And it has this, so feature, function, bridge to the benefits, right? So there's a technique or just a way of a reminder, features of the product, the function, what it does, how it works, and then you show them what the benefit of having this is and what the benefit is to them. So feature, function, bridge to the benefits. And
I'm also assuming that what you do before the encounter could be very beneficial for you to close at the end of your conversation. Tell us a little bit about what should you do to increase your chance to close someone with one interaction.
So you've got to know, obviously, the price is going to be an objection. You got to know what the objections are and build those potential objections into your presentation. Okay, that's the number one thing. So this way you're eliminating all the objections right up front. So during your presentation, hey, a lot of people think this, and maybe they bought this product before, but then they found out that once they had the product, they realized that, man, this is a great feature. I really had to have it. And so they've, really appreciated having this feature or whatever it is. But so I think I think having it in your presentation, I guess, bottom line is what it is. Like any potential objections, once you get over the price objection, if they already know the price and you've already overcome that objection, like it's within their price range, they tell you my price point is between this and this. If you get that objection over with early on in the process, and then you already know your product, you know what you're selling, then you should know what your common objections are. And so you're dealing with those things early on in the process. So you're eliminating those. So by the time you get to the close, it's not a close, it's just it's the next stage, the next evolution in the process is for them to sign what they need to sign, or them to hand you the check or give you the credit card or whatever it is. So, you have to build all that stuff in advance. So all that stuff, where those objections are, and that's why, you just build that into your presentation.
Yeah. One thing I want you to maybe give us an example or two, the pressure on you, especially when you deal high stake deals. I know you have some deals in millions, some of them 20, 30 millions of dollars. Some of them, they may not close right there, but it takes another level of persuasion to talk to people who make decisions at that level of finance, and you must have some skill set that you have to persuade them. And if you don't mind, can you give us, without going into details, some of the things you do when you interact with high stake deals?
You know what? I think that's where your deep industry knowledge, your product knowledge comes into place, because you shouldn't be nervous about those big 20, 30, 40, $50 million deals or bigger. I mean, you should treat it the same as a $500,000 deal. It essentially, I mean, there's some different layers. You're going to come in, you got more people, you might have a bunch of attorneys on both sides that you have to deal with as well. But it's essentially the same deal. You're dealing with people, and they're wanting to buy, you're wanting to sell. And if you're operating like we do in commercial real estate as a transaction broker, then you're just trying to bring the sides together and find that equitable deal where both of them is happy, and where it makes sense for both of them. And so that's the way. You can't really, the deals aren't done at a big level like that. It's all about the equity of the deal and about both sides, getting as close as possible to what they want. So, I wouldn't be any more scared of a $50, $100 million deal than I would be of a $500,000 deal or $1 million deal. So you got to get that mindset, get your mindset right, and don't make it be this big ominous thing that you've got to overcome. It's the same deals. You just might have to have a little deeper knowledge, get a little more information, and know there might be more aspects to the deal that need to be taken care of, for example. So it can get a little more complicated, especially when you have different tiers of financing involved, and different, like I said, you get a bunch of attorneys involved, and it always complicates things and potentially delay things a little bit. So you got to keep persevering. You got to keep working through things. But so I would say, don't be scared of any big deals, 50, $30 billion deals. Don't be scared of those things. Just jump right in there and don't be afraid. Just go in there like it's a small deal and don't be nervous about it. It's the same. You're dealing with the same people. Matter of fact, it's easier to deal with those people at a much, much higher level because they're very experienced. You're not dealing with a person that has very little experience buying the $500,000 building or something might be, or whatever your higher priced, product might be versus, these people are used to these level of transactions. And when you're doing it at a high level like that, those guys, this is not their first deal. It might be your first deal. You don't have to let them know it's your first deal, at that level, but it's not their first deal. So you just have to act accordingly. And you got to know if you got to bring someone in, an expert that's been to that level to know, hey, you know what? There's a couple other steps that you should be aware of, when you're transacting at this level, but treat it like any other deal, but you got to know your stuff. They will wipe the floor with you. If you don't know your stuff, you don't know your product, you don't know the market. You start talking, you're going to talk yourself into a hole and you just ruined your trust and the relationship, everything else. You have to know your stuff.
I hear two things. I will try to reconcile them, but if I mess it up, you clean it for me and you correct me. In one hand, I hear you saying that, don't worry, just have the confidence. It doesn't matter whether it's $1,000 or 1 million or 100 million. On the other side, you mentioned that you have to know what your stuff and you have to be a trusted advisor. For them, now I could reconcile them, but as you know, human psychology, if somebody has never closed a $1,000 deal, it becomes, at least at the mind level, too much to go for 1 million. If they never closed 1 million, it becomes too much to close 10 million or 20 or 40 million. But I think if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that if you know your market, your product, your services, if you are the to-go-to person, if you are the domain expert, if you know what you're doing, you are approaching them as a trusted advisor, regardless of the money involved. And when you go out as a trusted advisor who has answers for them, somebody who could give them context and directions, it doesn't matter the stake. It matters that you can answer their questions. It matters that you can help them. Reaching there is the challenge. How can you become a trusted advisor, know your market, do your homework, don't worry about, am I capturing it right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you hit it right on the nose there. Yeah, you just, like you said, have the confidence to get out there. So, I know it's tough getting your first deal, for example, your first big sale, if you try to get up to a new mark and try to hit some new heights in your industry. But it's like you said, it's just about psychology and about don't psych yourself out, whatever you do. So, you got to get your own head right, but if you have the knowledge, then you're going to, then you're going to have the courage, you're going to have the strength to get out there and do it. If you have the knowledge, you're set. So
great advice.
Be an expert.
Yep. It takes away any doubt. It takes away any little voice stopping you from going for big deals.